Do you think you're more focused on building inventory or sourcing quality books? Or possibly both? When I say building inventory, is pricing books higher because it's FBA so that you can make more money, but being willing to sit on those books longer? So instead of selling them in a few weeks or a month, you're willing to sit on them for 3, 6, 9 months, even more, depending of course on the profit and where your comfort zone is. But basically you're more focused on the amount of profit that you're going to squeeze out of the books than selling them quickly. So I'm still making a profit but getting less money. So you don't mind paying the monthly storage fees because, as I know, and as everyone knows, they're very low. So you could have several thousand books and not have to pay that much per month. You can even have 5,000 books and you're probably only paying a couple $100, if that. So that's why a lot of people do that. They get a lot of books in stock, and over time those longer tails they sit on sell for some of the time. So a lot of things are coming to my mind as I'm talking through this, but basically this was the strategy that I had when I first started, because it's what I heard from people that I initially learned from, saying that you can price a lot higher, which you can in general over merchant fulfilled, but being willing to wait longer to sell those books. This also entails much longer tail books. So being willing to go over 3 million, even into 5, 6 million sales rank range, if the price is right, the competition is right, there's any sales history, etc., or the topic is right. You feel that topic will sell, even if it's only sold 1 in the last year or none in the last year. So there's a lot of factors that go into it. But basically, you subscribe to the idea that there is more money to be pulled out of the books if you wait longer, or that the right prime buyer, or any buyer for that matter, will come along and buy your listing, your book. And for a good amount of people, that is how they go about building the business. And some of the people that I learned from in the beginning by watching YouTube videos, reading blogs, that sort of thing, sort of subscribe to that theory, and they've done that for a long time. However, that's something that has been sort of an older way of looking at it based upon less seller competition. Nowadays, there's a lot more sellers, so it's a little bit more competition, and a lot more people are willing to lower the price. So that's one side versus sourcing quality books. And what I mean by that is quality, I mean profitable books, as in at least making 3 times your money, hopefully more, hopefully closer to 6 to 10 times your money. I like to shoot for 8 to 10 times, but I'm willing to get 3 to 4 times on the very, very quick selling books. Quicker selling books that still sell for a profit. And your profit, your comfort zone for profit is up to you. But for me, it's usually at least 3 to 4 times. That's usually what I like to make off of a book. So if I buy it for $1, I want to at least make $3 to $4 off of it, get paid $3 to $4. If it's 50 cents, it's a little bit higher, more like 5 or 6 times. But nonetheless, you kind of get the point. Is a lot of those books that are lower profit, 3 to 4 times my money, are very fast sellers, sell within a few days, a few weeks. So that's not, and I'm not saying that those are only books that's the only option for this, what I'm talking about in this video, but sourcing books that are going to sell relatively quickly and for a profit, and not as interested in them sitting around. So you want to turn them quicker. Fast nickel over the slow dime, basically, in a nutshell, is what this video is about. You'd rather sit on some of the books, charge more to get more money out of them, or sell them quicker, get a little bit less money, but get your money back and buy more inventory. For me, I started out with wanting to just build inventory, thinking more about a lot of long tails, and I bought a lot of books, especially in the first 6, 8 months, 9 months. I bought a lot of books ranked over 3 million. Many books ranked over 5 million, and I found out, because I thought that, oh, they might take a little bit of time, but they won't take that long. It won't take me a year to sell these. I could sell them in 6, 9 months maybe. And it turns out a lot of those never sold, and I had to get rid of them. And it's rare that a lot of those sell at all. They have such a high rank because they sold 1 copy in the last year and a half, last 2 years, whatever it may be. But a lot of that plays into experience and knowing which books will potentially sell, as well as based upon the current prices, sales history, topic of the book, that sort of thing. I'm more towards sourcing quicker selling books that are still profitable. And I mean quicker, it could take a couple months, but I'm still going to make profit off of it. versus raising that price a lot higher and taking 6 to 9 months to sell it, or even a year. Now, I'm willing to wait a year to sell a book if I'm going to sell it for, if I'm going to wait a year, I want to sell it for, I mean, $20 I think is too low. It's got to be probably $30, $35 or more. Because if I sell a $20 book, I get paid about $14, depending on how big the book is, how heavy, that sort of thing. But $13 to $14, it's usually about $14. If I sell it for $30, $40, you know, that's a lot more profit, especially if I only bought it for 50 cents to $1. I would say at least $30 if I'm going to wait a whole year, at least 30 bucks. So I can make a nice profit and get about $21, $22 out of that book. If I spend $1, even if it's sat for a year, I only paid about a quarter to store that book for an entire year. So it makes sense. But only if that book is actually going to sell. Not in my mind, I think it will sell, I hope it sells, but based upon my experience, based upon all the factors such as sales rank history, such as the prices, the historical prices, such as how many other FBA offers, how many other overall offers, the topic of the book as well. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I still have books that I'm investing in for the long term, for more long tail, and the more long tails I send in, the more long tail sales I make as the longer that I'm in the business, which I've talked about in the past in other videos. But the longer I'm in the business, the more I realize for me personally, I would prefer to sell more of my books quicker than more of my books slower. And I understand the more books you sell, or the more that books you invest in and send in that are long tail over time, so over a year, let's say, you start in January, and then you just send in a lot of long tails. Let's say half of your books are long tails. By the time the next January comes around, I mean sooner, but you should be having pretty steady long tail sales if you've been building up your inventory. You're more interested in building up the inventory, as in building up the long tail, higher payout inventory, than focusing on quicker selling books that still make a great profit, but that sell faster, that turn over faster, less money, but you get your money quicker. I think for me, more of my personality and my impatience, or the way that I'm built, I prefer to sell a lot of my books quicker. And if I find a quality book that I think is going to sell in 6 to 12 months, only $1, and sell it for $40, $50, $60 or more, and I think it's going to sell, I'm really confident based upon all the factors, then I'm definitely going to invest in it. The same goes for a CD or a VHS tape, but I would rather have most of my inventory turning over faster. That's why I've gotten more into the faster selling fiction and nonfiction books that I find that before I wasn't necessarily looking for, but now it's more on my radar, where I make less money, so my ASP is going down, but I'm selling them quicker, so I'm getting the money back faster. That doesn't mean that I skip over long tail books or quality nonfiction books, or books of any type, but mostly nonfiction that are going to sell for big money, at least over $20, $20 to $30 and up. It just means that I have broadened, expanded, and opened up my sourcing to other quicker selling, lower profit books. Not just to keep my sales numbers up, but just to have higher numbers, but just to sell more, period. I'd rather find, sure, if there was, if I had the option, I say, well, if you could find one $100 book or 10 $10 books, which would you rather do? Clearly, I'd rather find the $100 book as long as it sells relatively quickly, because I'll make more money off of it. But what if there is no $100 book? What if there's only 10 $10 books? Then I'm going to take the 10 $10 books. So that is an argument that this doesn't work. If you have access to lots of great nonfiction books that are selling for big money, over $40, $50 consistently, you're finding those and sending those in, whether they're school related or not, then you're lucky, or you just know how to find those sources. Maybe you've built up a network, you've gone all over the place, you know, where you live, to every single possible source, and you found the great ones where you can have consistent, high-priced nonfiction books that are going to sell coming to you, or you finding them. Then I would do that, right? Who wouldn't do that? But I don't find those as much. I find enough to send in some really high-paying or high-payout books, high-selling books, but I find all kinds of books. So that's why I wanted to include quicker selling, lower profit books as well, just to make more money basically. And also, the more I sell quicker, the more I can raise my storage limit, which I'd like to raise it at least one more time in the near future. I'll probably call Amazon soon here because I'm back to school, just to get a bump hopefully above 10,000 if I get to that point. So I just wanted to put that out there because my strategy has definitely changed over the past 6 months or so, maybe longer, where I like to sell my books a little bit faster. So my pricing strategy has changed a bit, where if there's prices from, let's say, $11 to $16 and Amazon is $18, I'm going to price the lower $11 price to try to sell quicker. I don't mind missing out on a couple of dollars, $2, $3, if I can sell it faster. Unless I feel that based upon other factors like sales rank or how quickly the item is selling, how many offers, that I can price it a couple bucks more and it'll still sell pretty fast, then I might price it a little bit higher. But generally speaking, I want to be the next sale. If there's one FBA offer way below the second lowest, so let's say the lowest, there's one at $10.95 and everyone's above that, except there's one way down at $7.25. But the rest of them are up there and Amazon is at $16, $18, whatever, then I'm not going to chase down to that lowest offer. I'm going to wait for that to sell and then get in on the next sale, hopefully. Depending on the book, the condition might matter. So if that $7.25 is acceptable, you have very good or good. Maybe they'll bypass the acceptable, depends on the person. Maybe they want a better quality copy, who knows. Just to give you an idea of where my mind is for pricing right now is, having done this almost 2 years, September will be 2 years since I sent in my first shipment. Now granted, the first 3 to 6 months I wasn't consistently shipping, wasn't repricing, wasn't doing a lot of the things that I'm doing now. I was waiting to get a big shipment of 100 and sending that in versus sending in smaller shipments, etc. Regardless, I did technically start in September, so after almost 2 years of sending in shipments in this FBA business, I got to the point to where I want to build my inventory, but at the same time I want to sell my inventory. There's no sense in having 5,000 books in the warehouse if you're selling a very low percentage, unless your ASP is really high. If it's like $25, $30, something crazy, but you're only selling 4 or 5% of your inventory, that's great. But if your ASP is down $12, $13, then it doesn't make sense. My ASP when I first started in the first, let's say, year or so, I was always around $18, $18 to $20 each month, but I wasn't selling that many. So my ASP was higher, but I didn't have as many in stock. But nonetheless, I had too many in the beginning that were just never gonna sell. I had to price them way down or get rid of them. I'm not saying that you shouldn't build inventory as in more long tail or just inventory in general, but you wanna sell your inventory. So if I can sell 10% of my inventory, which is closer to where I am now, I'd rather do that, have faster turnover, than sell 5% and wait a long time. Now, of course, if you're really good at finding and listing high-priced, mostly nonfiction books that are gonna sell eventually for serious money, then that should be your strategy. I understand that, but everyone does the business in their own way. So it's good though to find out what works for you. Would you rather find books that sell fast, a little bit slower, or slower for big money? Do you want to mix it up? I like to mix it up, but lean much more towards faster selling. So I'm always looking for those books like I found a couple weeks ago, those school books, multiple books selling for $50, one selling for $70. When I come across that, awesome. I'm gonna send those in, but those are a different case because they're school books, so they're gonna sell. But nonetheless, whether it's school related or not, of course, I'm always looking for high profit books, always. I mean, I make videos about the big sales that I make on books or CDs or VHS tapes just to motivate people because they're out there, you just gotta find them. This is turning into a long video, but just wanted to talk about that topic. It just came up in my head, and I was realizing lately that I've changed the way that I'm sourcing, and instead of focusing on building inventory, I'm focusing on sourcing books that I know based on my experience are gonna sell faster. But still for a great profit. I'm still only spending about $1 per book on sourcing, but my ASP, it varies from month to month now, but it's anywhere between $12 to $14 a month. So $12, let's say $13 payout, still gonna get close to, well, I don't know, $8 or so. So still 8 times my money is great. 7 to 8 times my money is great. I can live with that. As always, remember, keep booking.
That is completely crazy as all. I have to remind them, don't go there.